All right. Hello, everybody. Wow. Here we are. Welcome. So good to have you here. Welcome. Yes. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave. Wow. I wonder how loud that is. I'm using all the special effects. Yes. All the cheap effects provided to me by Spreaker. Spreaker.com. Why am I doing a commercial for them right at the top? Hey guys, hello everybody. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave. Welcome to the Dumbcast. My name is Dave Canyon. And we are going to be dumbing it down for the next 30 minutes. I appreciate you tuning in. I could say this is episode 23. That might be accurate. Then again, I don't know. It could be episode 25. And I'll explain to you why I don't know. Because I am it's been several months. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been several months since my last podcast. And I'll explain to you why it's been that long. I'll explain to you why I don't know what episode it is. And I'll explain to you a lot of things today. And I hope to do it. No, I don't hope to do it. I will certainly do it within the next 29 minutes because I have to train myself to do 30 minutes or less podcasts. Actually, I really should shoot for 29. 29. If I say 29, I'll hit 30. If I say 30, I'll go late. And I can't do that anymore. So, I'm going to explain some stuff, even though it doesn't matter to anybody, except for maybe one person who gives me some sympathy listens. And was basically my friend Mark, who was the only person who has emailed me or commented on my first 22 podcasts, which I think he's listened to almost everyone, if not everyone. And thank you, Mark, for doing that. It's been a couple of months, and I took a little break. And the reason why I took a break is because a couple of things. One, I was doing a home renovation, a house, a renovation of my house, and it was summertime. I wasn't going to stop doing the podcast because it was summertime, but the renovation that I did was really an energy suck, and it was very hard for me. It is very hard for me to do more than one thing and do one thing well. Although I seem to be able to go to work 4 to 5 days a week and do 16-hour days without blinking an eye. It's easy not to blink an eye, especially when you're sleeping half the time. But, not behind the wheel so much, but, kind of a joke there. But that combined with the fact that I wanted to do some behind-the-scenes work with my website, dumbingitdownwithdave.com, and I never got to it. And my fear was that I was going to continue producing podcasts and then either not uploading them or uploading them and not giving those shows the support that they need. And that's called stacking. I say that's called stacking. I call it stacking. I don't know if everybody else calls it stacking. Where you should start stacking things for you to do that you're going to get to on Sunday or you're going to get to on Monday, because I'm off on Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays. And I just took the last 2 or 3 months off from working 5 days a week. So I did have Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays off. But Sundays, I get home, later in the morning, and that's really a recovery day. I'm useless. I can't do anything on Sundays. And then there's Mondays where I wake up and I'm fresh to go. But I've been basically doing this, renovation and going to Lowe's and Home Depot, and it's just been awful, absolutely awful. Not awful like torture. It's just I learned something about myself, and what I learned is this, especially at this age, or maybe this is the way it's been all my life. I don't know, but definitely I notice it now. Every day, I have a very small window of opportunity. Very small window. 3 hours, 4 hours. I don't know. But it's small. And that's when I wake up and I'm fully recharged. but not even really fully recharged because I don't really sleep that well. I have a CPAP machine, and but I do have a new bed. That's part of the renovation. First time my wife and I bought well, maybe the second time, but I don't really even remember the first time. So I'm going to say that this is the first time that we actually went shopping and found a bed. We bought it at Sam's. We went to all these different stores. We ended up going to Sam's, and we didn't even buy like the most expensive bed. We didn't buy a middle of the road bed. We bought a really affordable $400 or $500, maybe it was more, I don't even remember actually, bed at Sam's, and we tested out two of them. One was more money than this one. We liked that one too, but we figured we'll go with this one, the cheaper one, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, who cares about my bed purchases? But I have a small window of opportunity to get things done and get things done right. And when I wake up on my days off and I got to go to Lowe's or Home Depot, or I got to do this or that, whatever I do, that's the thing I do. And then when that thing is done, I'm usually spent. Now you might say, well, Dave, like, what are you doing that exhausts you? Well, I can do dishes. One day I woke up and I did the dishes, and that didn't exhaust me. But then I got a phone call, or I made a phone call because somebody wanted to talk to me. I ended up talking to this person for an hour and a half, and it was a very difficult conversation because this person is going through some very difficult times, and I gave up a lot of energy. I gave up a lot of wisdom and empathy and just a lot of energy. So let's say you rate things from 0 to 10. What's a 0? 0 is sitting there watching TV. What's a 10? A 10 would be sitting there listening to somebody talk to you for an hour and a half on the phone, telling you about all the difficult things that are going on in their life, listening to them cry, and being emotional. So that's it. So I had a day off one day. I was ready to go. I did some dishes, and then I listened to this person for an hour and a half. So let's say the dishes are a 2. I'm pretty good with dishes. Let's say dishes are a 1.5, maybe a 2 if there's a lot or big stuff that's awkward. I have a double sink and it's small, but so I can do 5 2s, 3 3s. You know what I'm saying? Do the math. Whatever adds up to 10, I can do that. But and this particular day I must have done an 11 or a 12 because I was doing the dishes and I actually ran around the house putting things away, and because you get lazy the night before, you're eating popcorn, you got some drinks, you got this, it's kind of like when you close a bar, but you didn't really clean up before you left the bar, if you were a bar owner, which I'm not, but I'm just saying. So, I was cleaning up. So I learned that about myself, that's for sure. I need sleep, and then I gotta get when the windows of opportunity is open, I gotta climb through. And when that thing closes, it closes shut. And what do I do for the rest of the day when that window closes shut? I do 0. I've exhausted my battery. I'm done. Also, that I wanted to share with you is that I could go to sleep again after I'm spent. I could try to get some sleep, wake up and do it all again. I really don't think I've ever tried that. Although my theory is that might work, that I might be able to wake up and go, okay, I woke up again, the window of opportunity is open. It's no different from charging, the analogy is charging your cell phone. The phone goes down to 5%, it gives you a couple of warnings. If you don't heed the warnings, it shuts off automatically. But if you charge it up, then you can use the phone again in an hour or 2 or 3 hours, however it takes you to charge your phone. So, and the phone will work just as good at 80% as it was, at 20%. You just needed to take a little time and charge it. I don't know if I would work as well at 80% as I was at 20%. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm considering my options. So I learned that about myself, and it's frustrating because my wife can go all day. She can go all day and all night. She can really go. And I don't know if it's because I'm overweight, although I'm sure that doesn't help. I have a hard time getting things done. So when I go to Lowe's or Home Depot in the morning, and then I come home, and I'm supposed to be working on my website and my podcast and the social media, and just continue my progress, I don't want to. As much as I like to think I would enjoy it, I don't do it. And it's been very frustrating. So there's that. All right? I got to be very aware of my time. I'm 10 minutes in. I feel like I've said nothing for 10 minutes. I'm also very aware of that about my podcasts. But I wanted to work on that. The other thing was that I received some criticism from Mark and from my wife about the way I was doing my podcast. And I'm not going to say they were wrong and I'm right, but it was very hard for me to hear and accept this criticism. I don't know if I've actually accepted the criticism, but I heard it, and I don't 100% disagree with it, but I don't 100% agree with it. Because here's the deal. How do I know? How do I know what they're saying is right? I have listened to hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands. Well, if I listen to one podcast a day for 3 years, that would be 1,000. So I've been listening to podcasts for maybe 2 years, and I listen to more than 1 hour a day. Now, it all depends. So let's say I've listened to 400 hours of podcasts. I don't know. 40 shows, whatever. I've listened to hundreds of hours of podcasts. Mark has listened to my podcast, and I've only done 22 up till now. And my wife only heard my podcast once. So these are not podcast experts. And I heard their advice, and it affected me negatively, where I kind of doubted myself. I was like, oh my God, are they right? I shouldn't keep on doing what I'm doing. I should find another way to do it. So this show is the first of shows where I'm trying to find a way to do it. And I'm trying not to be aware that I'm doing this show differently, but just doing it and hoping that I don't fall back on old habits. Now, like I said, I don't 100% disagree, and I don't 100% agree, because I don't know. I'm the expert out of the three of them, and I'm letting them affect me. And I think what I was doing was fine. I was trying to be energetic. I was trying to be humorous. I was trying to be entertaining, informative, compelling, all that stuff. And apparently, that wasn't coming across. What was coming across was some amateur production, some hemming and hawing, talking to myself, arguing with myself, which I thought was quite unique. But apparently I'm alone in that thought that what I was doing was unique. And also, here's what I do accept. I 100% accept the possibility that I absolutely misinterpreted and misunderstood what they both said. Because I am dumb enough to do that. It's quite possible. And it really bummed me out. And so between not wanting to continue stacking shows on top of shows that didn't have show info, that I wasn't publicizing with social media, that I have things to do internet-wise, and combined with that and the criticism, I just stopped doing podcasts. I didn't know what to do. A little water break there. I had here's another thing. I had 2 podcasts in the can. And I could have easily uploaded them at any time. I think my my very last show, I alluded to the fact I couldn't have. But anyway, I had 2 shows in the can. I mean, I could have uploaded them at any time, and I would have been. This would have been episode 25. But I'm actually 2 phones, or maybe 3 phones. Two phones, I think, from my last phone. But that doesn't make any sense. No, I'm 1 phone from my last phone. But as far as the podcast go, I'm like 2 phones down from then. Oh yeah, I had the Air. I had the Unetco Air. So now I have a Blue Life XL. That's what I'm using, Blue Life XL. And it's a nice phone. I'm really trying to protect it. So that was also work I had to do in my small window of opportunity of things. I had to research phones. Because I wanted to get an unlocked phone. They call it an unlocked phone. So anyway, wow, 15 minutes in. Have I made myself clear? Am I doing my show differently? I hope so. I'm not arguing with myself. I'm not hemming and hawing, and I'm just trying to... Whoa, look at this guy stopping short. What are you stopping short for? Oh, good thing I'm paying attention. I could have had my first accident doing Dumbing It Down with Dave in my Kia Rio. In my... what was I calling it before I stopped doing the show? My Porta Potty. Poddy. Porta Potty. Get it? Because I'm doing a podcast. So, and I'm mobile. Most people don't do a podcast in their car. And I do this podcast, and we do call it the fastest podcast on earth, because I will be traveling at speeds between 65 and 80 miles an hour. And I do this podcast, to and from work. So, and I'm using a new Bluetooth. That's another thing that happened. That Bluetooth broke. I wasn't using the podcast with the other Bluetooth. But a lot of things have happened. The criticism, the home renovation, and I've been exhausted, and I didn't want to stack. So that's it. And I also had a plan, not like I have a plan. I had an option here with Spreaker where I could do like a 60-minute show or whatever. And first it was like some special deal where I paid $2 a month. Then I forgot to cancel the plan, and they started charging me $21 or $19 a month, whatever it is, which isn't $1 million to me, but I didn't change the plan. I really only wanted to do a half-hour show right from the start. And I'm going to do half-hour shows, and I'm going to do even shorter shows. I might do a 5-minute podcast. So that was another complaint. All right? The shows are too long. Well, let me tell you this. Nobody's listening, except for Mark. I don't know. Nobody, because I keep on putting out the email address, dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. I guess maybe I should give out the Twitter address too, because people tweet. They don't even email anymore. So I'm at Dumb with Dave. I think that's how you contact me. My Twitter account is at Dumb, D-U-M-B. I'm amazed how many people don't know how to spell the word dumb. D-U-M-B with Dumb with Dave. W-I-T-H Dave. D-A-V-E. All right, so you got Twitter. You got email, dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. And you got my website, dumbingitdownwithdave.com. Well, what did I say with my email address? dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. Yeah, and nobody's emailing me. So I said to myself, nobody's listening. You just got some negative criticism. Although Mark and my wife might say, no, it's not negative criticism. It's helpful criticism. We're trying to help you be more productive and entertaining. So I lost some confidence. I didn't want to stack. I was exhausted from the home renovation. It was like a perfect storm of all these things that are happening. And I decided, since nobody's listening, I've got nothing to lose by stopping. Now, it's not a pod fade. One of the things that I've learned is that there's a thing called a pod fade, where most podcasts stop after 7 episodes because they've run out of ideas. That's not going to be a problem for me. I'm always going to have something to talk about. Always. But, and I'm not on the schedule. So if I do get my car and I don't have anything to say for whatever reason, or if I got a headache, or if I'm tired, I don't feel well, which has happened, then I don't do the podcast. I don't need a schedule. Nobody's listening. Well, you might say, hey, Dave, how are you going to get people to listen unless you have a regular schedule? Well, then I'll say what I was going to say a couple minutes ago, and I forgot to say it. I'm not doing this really for anybody but me. And maybe that's why I don't have listeners, because I keep on saying it and then reaffirming it. But it's really like a level of protection. So I don't feel so bad when nobody's tuning in. So I'll say that I'm doing this for me. But the likelihood is I could do 500 of these shows, and nobody will ever be tuning in. Nobody will ever be listening, because I'm not a celebrity, and I'm not as witty as I'd like to be, or as funny as I like to be, or as informative as I like to be. I probably need a co-host to make the show really work. Somebody who I could bounce things off of, somebody who I would respect, and somebody who I can have a conversation with, and somebody who is insightful, and somebody who's naturally curious. I think that's a good mark of a good indicator of a good host of a show. Somebody who has a very natural curiosity to ask questions and to probe and to ponder, pontificate, all that. So, but I do this in my car during my commute to and from work. So how am I going to have a co-host? That's going to be impossible. I'd have to have a base station. I'd have to have a studio. Or I'd have to have somebody in this car driving around with me somehow, or just sitting in this car. I can go to somebody's house and sit in the car and do this podcast. But I'm not thinking about co-hosts right now. I'm thinking about how to make this show work in all areas. So, you got suggestions? Well, you can leave a comment here on the Spreaker app, if you're listening to me on the Spreaker app, or you can just email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. Dumbing, D-U-M-B-B-I-N-G. Not one B, not two. dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com, or tweet me at dumbwithdave. And don't forget my friends at Comedy Pipe. They do a show called Pipe Dream. I called into it last night, and I am featured on show 198. Number 198, Pipe Dream. One dream, one pipe. Not Pipe's Dream or Pipe Dreams. Pipe Dream on the comedypipe.com comedy network. Listen to Mike, who's also known as 3D, and his friends Jefferson and Joe Green. They do an interesting show. All right, so I think I laid it all out for you there. Why? And so I'm going to try to do a better podcast by not arguing with myself and not asking myself questions and answering it. That seems to drive Mark crazy. But I wonder, for the rest of you that listen or have listened to my previous shows, is Mark correct? Is Mark correct? Maybe he's wrong. I mean, he's not a podcast expert, but he does listen to a lot of radio. So, and he is a somewhat insightful guy. I think he's a little tainted in a certain way, but that's okay, because everybody's tainted in a certain way, or he's biased in a certain way, and in most ways he's not. So I got nothing to lose. I'm gonna accept this criticism. Today is my first podcast back, and we'll see what it sounds like. We'll see what it was. Mike from Pipe Dream added a tagline to the show. Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. And he said, Dave will tell you, it was something like, Dave will talk about the way life ought to be, or the way Dave thinks life ought to be. I've already blown it. I sent him a text, so I'll look at it later and see what he said. I sent him a text repeating. I wrote what he said, and Dave tells you the way he thinks life ought to be. Life ought to be like something like that. So I will try to be a little bit more opinionated. Basically, going back to the reference where Mark sent me an earlier email saying I need to emphasize the it in dumbing it down with Dave. What is the it that we are dumbing it down? What is the it we are dumbing down? So, there's a lot of politics happening in the world. I'm not an expert, but I could dumb that down. There's movies, there's arts, there's television. We could do anything we want. But right now, I'm dumbing down this podcast. All right? Got a couple minutes to go, and I'm definitely going to do a 29-minute podcast today. And I don't have to do 29 minutes. I could do a 24-minute podcast, which is where we're at right now. Do you hear that phone ringing? No. I don't know how to shut it off on this phone. I got to figure that out. If you can hear that, I got to figure that out. So, anyway, don't forget, dumbingitdownwithdave.com is the website. Some of you might be listening to this on Spreaker. I think I have an app on Spreaker, which was another thing I needed to work on, was my app. I could use a producer Anybody want to produce? Anybody want to be the technical advisor? I'm pretty sure I could use a co-host, but I don't know how that's going to work. I'd have to set up a studio in my garage, which is part of the plan. Or I guess we'd have to meet somewhere and, plug in some microphones into a laptop or that type of thing. So I'm going to try to emphasize the it, put more work into the it of Dumbing It Down with Dave. I just saw a guy do a sort of a stand-up routine, but it was more of like a religious inspirational speech. And he says, explain the why. If you explain the why, that helps the what. You can talk about what, like what you're doing, but it's the why that supports the what. I think that's what the guy said. I thought it was pretty cool. Explain the why, talk about the why, W-H-Y, and that will explain the what, or that'll fuel the what. So that makes sense to me. Curiosity, why? So instead of getting on this phone and rambling and all that good stuff, I will try to emphasize the it. So maybe we'll talk about the election, the presidential election between Trump and Hillary. There's a lot to talk about there. There's some good fodder, as they say. Fodder. That's a word I learned from watching Abbott and Costello. Bud Abbott and Lou Costello from years ago. Fodder. That's stuff. I don't know the definition. I just know how to use it in a sentence. It's stuff you eat. No? It's stuff. It's just stuff. Look it up. I don't even know how to spell it. I'm going to say F-A-D-D-E-R, but that looks like fatter. So, I don't know. Fodder. Oh, F-O. F-O-D-D-E-R? Fodder. Who knows? Okay. That's it. 8:56. You know what? Let's end it early. Why not? Let's get used to ending it way before 29 minutes. I got nothing else to say. I appreciate you listening to this podcast. I hope I didn't pop my peas too bad. I hope this Bluetooth sounds good. And I will try to emphasize the it and Dumbing It Down with Dave. Please email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. Let me know what you thought of this show. It wasn't really deep. I didn't really get into anything. I just wanted to say hello, that I'm back making podcasts. It's been a couple of months. I'm going to try to do better. If you have any suggestions, topic ideas, you want to be a co-host, I prefer working with a woman. A black woman would be better. Try to get as many minorities in there as possible. A Middle Eastern, black, possibly half Native American woman. That'd be great. A lesbian would be even better. Oh my God. Or a transgendered lesbian. So somebody that used to be a guy is transgendered into a black, Middle Eastern, American Native lesbian. Transgender lesbian. All right, that's it. 28 minutes. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'll try to do another podcast as soon as possible. We'll see how that all goes. Until then, Dave Canyon here. We've dumbed it down pretty good, I think. All right? So, good luck. Oh, no. Here it is. There's a lot of G's. I got to remember this. Goodbye. No, good day. There you go. Good day, good night, goodbye, and good luck. Godspeed. And great skills. Great skills. We all need great skills. Oh, how about let's use a cheesy effect to say goodbye. Where's my cheesy effect? Oh, I lost it. There you go. Yay! All right, it was great. Oh, that was great. Take care, guys. Bye.